Hello dear students, welcome to my channel D-Biology. In this video, we'll be discussing about a very interesting topic that is in plant morphology and it's fruit. We all love eating fruits and hence this topic becomes quite interesting. Now, we know that what the fruit is. In our previous videos, we have discussed that ripened swollen ovary, ripened swollen or fertilized. These words can be used to show what the fruit is, ripened or swollen or fertilized ovary. Fertilized ovary is going to form the structure that is known as fruit, and we know that the fruit will contain the seeds. I'll just give a quick revision what we studied in our previous video. This is the stigma, then we have the style. Okay, I closed it completely, just a minute. This is the stigma, then the stigma has a style, and then there is an ovary present over there. Now, this complete structure, it becomes swollen, it becomes fertilized, and then forms a structure that is known as fruit. Now, this boundary of the ovary, this is known as the ovary wall. What it is known as? It is known as ovary wall, and this ovary wall becomes swollen to be known as what? It becomes the pericarp of the fruit. Pericarp of the fruit. This pericarp is the outer covering of the fruit we get to see, and we'll see that the pericarp is further divided into different parts in some fruits. So fruit can be defined as ripened or swollen or fertilized ovary, which will have the fertilized ovule or fertilized egg within it, forming the seed of the fruit. These fruits are only found in the members of angiosperms. They are not found in the members other than the angiosperms. Because in gymnosperms we have naked seeds, means fruitless seeds, and till Pteridophyta there are no seeds formation, so no fruit formations are there. Clear? Now, we said that ovary is forming the fruits, but sometimes what happens, this ovary, it does not form the fruit alone, but it takes some more parts of the plant or some more parts of the flower to form the fruits. Hence we can classify this fruits into two types. One is true fruits and another one is false fruits. True fruits are the fruits which are formed only and only from the ovary. Formed, fruits formed only from ovary. Then we call it as true fruits. For example, we have mango, we have so many other examples like the grapes and all. Now, coming to the second type of fruit, that is false fruits. False fruits means ovary will be there. Along with ovary, some other parts of the plants are also present. Other plant parts. It can be a part of the flower itself, or the complete inflorescence can also be present over there. So we have got some examples like apple. Then we have a strawberry. And we have a cashew. So what happens basically, I'll tell you. This is the ovary. Okay, this ovary was supposed to form the fruit, and this ovary is present on the structure that is the thalamus, like this. It is present on the thalamus. Now, this ovary does what? This ovary together with itself takes some part of the thalamus and forms a complete fruit. This is the complete fruit where the thalamus part is also involved, and such fruit where the thalamus is involved is seen in apple. Actually, the part of the apple which we eat is the thalamus, and the part which we throw are the seeds. So remember, there are fruits which are formed from the parts other than the ovary also. Such fruits are known as the false fruits. Three examples are there which you need to remember. One is apple, very easy for you. Another one is strawberry, and the last one is cashew. Clear? So this was one classification about the fruits we have got. Now, next we have is another term that is known as parthenocarpic fruits. Parthenocarpic parthenocarpic fruits. Now remember, in the beginning I told you that fruits are formed by the fertilization of ovary, but sometimes this ovary just becomes swelled, forming a fruit without any fertilization in the influence of some hormones like auxin like hormones induces the fruit formation from the ovary in auxin-like hormones. Clear? So this ovary is going to form a complete fruit without going under the fertilization. Clear? So this is known as parthenocarpic, and the example we have got is banana. Then here the next one more term is there which we usually study in the 12th session also, but I just want you to understand here so that you won't get confused between parthenocarpic and this term that is the apomixis. Apomixis. Even though it is not studied in 11th, but I want you to understand so that you won't get confused. What is happening over here? Ovary is present. Yes. Inside the ovary, I'm directly drawing the egg cell. I'm not drawing the ovule and embryo sac, everything. This is the egg cell. Now, this egg cell without fertilization forms the embryo, or it forms the seed without fertilization. What is not happening here? No fertilization is there, means fertilization is not occurring here. No fertilization. No fertilization, egg cell becomes the seed, egg cell forms the embryo, and such kind of fruit formation is known as apomixis. You get to study another term that is amphimixis. This amphimixis means male and female gametes fusion. Clear? So from now, I believe that you won't get confused between three terms, that is parthenocarpic fruit, apomixis and amphimixis. Important questions have been framed in the previous year exams a number of times, and usually this confusion arises that what is occurring in parthenocarpic fruits, what is occurring in apomixis. So I have made it very clear that in parthenocarpic fruit, the ovary forms the fruit in the influence of hormones, example auxin. There is no role of egg forming the fruit. But in case of apomixis, this egg is forming the seed, and this seed, when it is formed, it gets covered by the fruit. So ovary converts into the fruit. When egg converts into the, means egg cell forms the embryo, or the seed is formed in the ovary. So this is all about the terms you need to know. Now we have got one more classification of fruits, and it is also as easy as we saw just now. So fruits, according to this criteria, have been divided into three forms. The three forms into which the fruits are divided, one is simple fruit, another one is aggregate Trust me, these terms, these classifications are very, very easy. Composite. So these are the three kinds of fruits we have got to study, and this is on the basis of what part or how many carpels are they fused or are they separate, forming one fruit. So let's start with the first one, that is the simple fruits. In case of simple fruits, a single fruit is formed on one thalamus. It can be formed from one ovary, or it can be formed from more than one ovary, but from more than one carpels, but all those carpels remain fused with each other like this. They all will remain fused with each other. So this is the syncarpous condition, where a number of pistils or a number of carpels are present together, but they are forming the single fruit. Clear? This is very easy. I hope you all are clear with this. Then we get the second type of fruit, aggregate fruits. The word aggregate means collection. When so many carpels or pistils are present on the thalamus, I'll show you how they are present. They are just present separately. They all are present separately, and each of them will form their own fruit. Such kind of aggregation is given a word that is known as heterio. Now you won't have to be scared of this word as it is not being asked yet, but just you need to have the knowledge that heterio means aggregation. Heterio means group, heterio means aggregation, where a number of a number of carpels are forming a group. Now, these carpels will form a fruit in the apocarpous condition, means they will not fuse with each other and each of them will form a separate fruit. So now I am drawing separate fruits like this. All these are forming separate fruits, and each of these fruits of the separate carpels are known as fruitlets. And these fruitlets together form a structure that is known as fruit. So fruitlets, individual fruits from individual carpels or pistils. These fruitlets will together form the structure that we call as fruit. Now we have got examples. First is custard apple. Custard apple, in Hindi we call it a sitaful. You all might have seen this custard apple, might have eaten it also, and you see that there are a number of seeds which are present together towards one direction, right? Now those all seeds are actually are formed from individual carpels, guys. Clear? So now you can imagine how these fruits are formed, the aggregate fruits. If you have seen the custard apple, this concept is definitely clear in your mind. Another one we have is raspberry. Raspberry, remember the name. Maybe you have not seen it or not have eaten this, but you just remember the name. Custard apple is one common example we all have seen. Then we have got is the third kind of fruit, that is the composite fruits, number 3. Composite fruits means here the complete inflorescence is involved. Complete inflorescence means the arrangement. Inflorescence means we'll talk about the calyx, we'll talk about the corolla, we'll talk about the complete flower arrangement on the floral axis. Hence, here these fruits are known as what? These fruits are known as false fruits. False fruits. I'll show you why I'm calling these fruits as false fruits. So let's say this is one inflorescence. This is one inflorescence, and on this inflorescence a number of flowers are present like this. See? A number of flowers are present like this on this inflorescence. Now, these flowers will have definitely the ovary present in them if they have a male reproductive part, and that ovary is going to get fertilized or is going to form the fruits. So this complete part forms the fruit, this complete part forms the fruit, this complete part forms a fruit, this complete part forms a fruit. But while forming a fruit, they take this pedicel with them and they form a complete fruit with the complete inflorescence. All the fruits are taking part in fruit formation, and along with them they are taking this pedicel in their fruit formation. Hence we call it as false fruits. Example is mulberry. Another one is pineapple, and the third one is ficus. Ficus plants do have this kind of fruit formation. Now, coming to the pineapple, we all have seen pineapple, I believe. This is how the pineapple somewhat looks like, right? And then the leaves are there and the thorns are present. And here, so many partitions are there on the pineapple. Each of these partition is basically one flower, guys. This is one flower, and the complete inflorescence is forming a complete fruit. Hence we call it as composite fruit, which is a kind of false fruit. Learn these three examples. Now there is something more for me to discuss about the simple fruit. Means we have got to classify simple fruit more over here. But before moving to its classification, I want you to remember one point, that is ficus, which is a composite fruit. Because later in this video, I'll talk a bit more about the ficus plants or ficus trees. Clear? So now let's see the classification of simple fruits. Simple fruits. Now, these simple fruits classification is as simple as their name. Here, nothing much is there. Simple fruits are classified into two groups, that is the fleshy pericarp and the dry pericarp fruits. Means on the basis of the type of pericarp they have got, they are classified into two types. One is fleshy and another one is dry. So, we are not going to talk in detail about the dry fruits. Yeah, we are just going to have a general knowledge about the dry fruits. That here, the pericarp is completely dry and it usually remains attached to the fruit itself or to the seed itself. Clear? Now, what we have got to discuss is this fleshy fruits. Fleshy fruits will have the fleshy pericarp. The pericarp or the fruit wall becomes swollen. In fleshy fruits, what is happening? Pericarp is fleshy, and in dry fruits, what was that? Pericarp was dry. Okay. Now, in pericarp, where it becomes fleshy, means this pericarp becomes fleshy. It becomes filled with so many, we can say, the sugar materials and the juicy materials forming the edible part of the fruit, but not in all fleshy fruits. In some of the fruits I'm talking about, for example, mangoes. Clear? So pericarp becomes fleshy, it becomes swollen. It becomes swollen and stores some tasty eatable materials, making the pericarp eatable or edible. Now, this pericarp is further classified into three parts. That is epicarp, then we have got is mesocarp, and the last one we have got is endocarp. Clear? So, if this is the ovary wall, or now as it has formed the fruit, I'll call it as the pericarp. This complete is pericarp. Then the outermost boundary, which I'm drawing with this green color, is the apical. It is the apical. Then the innermost region, which I am drawing with the blue color, is the endocarp. This one is the endocarp. And the portion in between the two will be known as what? It will be known as mesocarp. Means this complete region will be known as mesocarp. So basically, pericarp has been divided into three parts: epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. Epicarp is the outermost covering. Usually we call it as peel of the fruits. What it is known as peel of the fruits. And now, in case of fleshy fruits, different kinds of fleshy fruits are there, and the one we have got to study is drupe. The one kind of fleshy fruit we have got to study is drupe. And what are the characteristics of the drupe fruits? Drupe fruits are formed from superior ovaries. From superior ovaries. Remember what are superior ovaries? The thalamus is there, ovary is present, and this ovary is formed above all the parts. Above all the parts, this ovary is formed. Then we call it as superior ovary, and these drupe fruits are formed from superior ovaries. The endocarp in drupe fruits is stony. Stony endocarp. Stony endocarp. I'll show you an example of mango where the endocarp. Till now, you are a bit wrong in understanding the structure of mango. So today in this video, the structure of mango will be completely clear. What part you are eating will be clear. What part you are throwing will be clear. So let's discuss the drupe fruit in detail a bit, where we'll be taking two examples basically. One is coconut and another one is mango. So as you can see, the first one we have got is mango. Right? In mango, the outermost covering, which we call as peel, is actually the apical. As you can see, this one. Then the middle fleshy part, which we basically eat complete, that is known as mesocarp. And inside, suppose this is one mango, and in this mango we have this part present. Okay, so this part, outer covering, is actually known as the endocarp. Here this endocarp is stony, which is a characteristic feature of drupe fruits, and inside this endocarp seed is present. Now when we eat mangoes, we throw the complete endocarp seed. Okay, so this is all about the mango you need to remember. Coming to the next kind of fruit we have got is the coconut. As you can see in this coconut, suppose this is again one coconut, the one which we use. Then in this coconut you can see the outermost covering is the apical. The outermost covering is the apical. Then the mesocarp is fibrous. You see these fiber-like structures, present. These fiber-like structures are actually the mesocarp. So in coconut, mesocarp is fibrous. Another important point. Clear? Inside the mesocarp, the solid part which we break before eating the coconut is the endocarp. This one is the endocarp. I'll show with some light color. I'll choose yellow. This is the endocarp, guys. This is the endocarp, complete endocarp, which is stony again. And inside the endocarp, we know that the white part which we get to eat is not the seed. What it is the endosperm. Now, it can be cellular if it is solid, and if it is liquid, it will be nuclear endosperm. And inside this coconut means we get a small sized seed. Clear? So, seed is present in the coconut, and yes, it is labeled with the seed in NCERT, but basically this white part is the endosperm, guys, which we get to eat. So these are two examples of drupe fruits which are important for you to remember. Now, after this, we have got few more types of fruits which are actually not we are not going to study complete classification of those fruits, but specifically those fruits we'll study because a number of times questions have been asked from those fruits. So let's see what those fruits are. First one we have got is Hesperidium. We all are familiar with the fruits. What we need to remember is the terms what are the group from which these fruits belong. So the first one we have got is Hesperidium. It's not an NCERT, but you need to remember these points. In Hesperidium, what the characteristic feature is, they have juicy hairs. Juicy hair, and these juicy hair are actually the edible part. They are the edible part of the fruit. Example, if I tell you, then it will be more clear. That is lemon, orange. So what part we eat in lemon or orange? We eat those glandular hairs which are present together like this, right? So these are actually the juicy hair. They have the seeds present separately, right? So these juicy hair are actually modified endocarp. They are modified endocarp, which are the edible part. So these are few points which you need to remember. Then the second fruit we have got is Balastra. Balastra, again this is one fruit, and in this fruit what happens, the calyx remains persistent, forming a crown shaped structure. This is persistent calyx. Now you all can understand what fruit it is. It is quite reddish in color, so I'll just color it with red. Now what it is pomegranate, anar, right? So Balastra is having this persistent calyx in the form of crown. Example is pomegranate, or in Hindi we call it as anar. Then we have the last one, that is Syconus. Syconus will be the fruit formed from Hypanthodium inflorescens. Hypanthodium inflorescens. Remember in this composite fruits I told about the ficus plants, ficus trees, and I asked you to remember the example. Okay, so Syconus fruit, which is formed from Hypanthodium inflorescens, is found in ficus trees like fig, people, etc. So these are the terms which you need to remember. Here we are done with this fruit completely. Some of the part is out of NCERT but important for your exam. So I expect that you will learn them properly. Now in the next video we'll discuss about the families. We don't have much to study in families. We just have 4 families, and it will be a very short video. We'll do it very fast and easily. So stay tuned for that. You will have to hit the bell icon and do like this video. Thanks.